was born into a Christian family. I didn't classify myself as a Christian because I wasn't good enough. I was doing everything on my own. And I always knew God is around, but I initially really resisted. I always wanted to make my own plans. You become really tired working so hard to try and save yourself, even though that's impossible. It's like running on a never-ending treadmill. It doesn't work.
In a crisis, I reached out to God, but I wasn't fully committed to God. I thought I could lead my own life and depend on only myself, because that's all I ever did throughout my life. But eventually, it wasn't enough, and I broke down again. I humbled myself before the Lord and really started reading the Bible instead of, kind of saying, oh, hey, I really like the stories of the Bible, and there's good messages, but never really committing.
And one night I was feeling particularly low, very upset and vulnerable and just really alone. And I don't know how to describe it. It was just this moment where I knew I wasn't alone anymore. And I had the light bulb moment of what if this is God? Because I'd always sort of acknowledged God, but I'd never really answered the question of if I believed in God. And if I didn't answer the question, then I didn't have to look at it and I could just keep going about my life. But thankfully I had some really, really great people who pushed my boundaries and were like, no, you need to go check this out, you need to go to church. And one Google search later, I found Trinity. And as soon as I walked in those doors, it was just like home.
Always grew up in a Christian household. Mum and Dad were always a big part of the church there. So we always grew up in and around the church. When I was about 10, I think I realised that being a Christian was something that I had to do myself. I had to trust in Jesus myself. And the biggest change recently that I've noticed in the last couple of years is the fact that I can take things to Jesus. I don't have to do everything myself. I can let, I can rely on Him for the strength to do things, but also the wisdom to not do some things.
I felt there were many occasions where something or someone was trying to reach out to me and protect me or deliver me from certain situations that could have ended up a lot worse, but I felt really protected. And as time went on, I realised that there was a hole inside of me growing. I knew something had to fill it in. And basically fast forward to this time last year, I met somebody through my business who was working in a business next to me, and she's now my fiance. She was making my coffee in the morning and she started preaching a little bit the gospel to me, and she was giving me some material from here at Trinity, and I started reading, and bit by bit I started to realise that this could be what that hole was. And she invited me to church and I started attending, and since then it's all become very clear and evident what that hole was, and it's now filled in and it's wonderful. It's an absolute blessing.
I love, well, for one, everything about Jesus, everything that I'm still getting to know about Him. In Bible studies, I keep having these moments of amazement where I think, oh my goodness, He's done this as well for us. And it's just, I love that I keep getting to have those moments, that I keep getting to know more about His character and to keep building my relationship with Him. And that's never going to stop.
He knows everything in my life, what I've been through, and He recognizes how hard it is, because not only did He have to die here, He had to live here for 33 years. I think of finally meeting Him and hugging Him and just Him grabbing me on the shoulders and just saying, I know what you've been through, and it's okay now. So that's what I love about Jesus, really.
And I think that confidence comes from the fact that I don't have to rely on my own works to get into heaven. The fact that I can rely on God's grace and mercy. I can rely on the fact that He died on the cross for us. And yeah, I truly believe that. And that through that, we can go to heaven with Him.
I think before I was trying to do it by myself, and now He's done it all.